Superb. So, good morning, good afternoon to wherever you may be. Welcome to another episode in our Superhero Spotlight series. I've got the pleasure to be joined by Shaun Puckrin today from GPS. So, hello, Shaun.
Hi, Dave. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you very much for joining us. Look, first things first, Shaun. Congratulations on your recent card payments award. Well done. Yeah, another award. You guys seem to be winning them month by month. So congratulations on that.
Yeah, thank you. It's we love all the awards, but the card and payments awards is always a really good one to win. And so and the fact that it's us in our category, so best issuer processor, was great. So we love being recognised for the hard work we've been putting in over the last few years.
Fantastic. Well done. So look, I guess for the benefit of the audience, it's probably worthwhile. I guess two things. So first of all, explaining exactly what it is that an issuer processor does, and then secondly to that, I'm interested in your positioning with regards being a modern card processor. Exactly what you mean by that?
Yeah, no, thanks. So like an issuer processor is a company that sits between the scheme, and the scheme being Visa, MasterCard, and others around the world, the companies that we all know and love, and then the kind of the brand that you would get your financial service from. So, recognizable customers of ours that I'm sure people recognize are people like Revolut, Starling, Curve. So you go to those companies to get your card, sign up, all that kind of stuff. We then help those companies translate those messages, create those cards, and get them registered and personalized and to the card manufacturers. And then we also manage the transactions on those cards. So as you do a transaction, at a point of sale or online, that message comes via Visa and MasterCard to us. We then process that transaction. So we'll make sure that there's available funds, or we'll do the 3DS checks and all that kind of stuff, depending on the type of transaction, and then pass that on to the issuer. Or we may give it to the issuer themselves to make those decisions if they want to have the right to be able to make those decisions themselves as well. So it's really about taking out the complexity of building to those schemes and really kind of helping issuers get to market really fast, so they can concentrate on building their own features and functions rather than having to worry about scheme mandates and that kind of stuff. So it's really about sort of insulating the sort of the world of fintech from the complexity of the schemes and all the other bits of regulation that come along as well. I think the other one of the ways people often think about payments processors, and they think about the merchant side, and it is a good analogy of what happened in the merchant side, where you had the old acquirers, and they would provide everything from gateway to acquiring to a bunch of other services. We're seeing that all got broken down, and there's now a large set of a whole ecosystem of providers to merchants. We're seeing the same happen on the issuer side, and so we're very much part of that change and that revolution from the incumbent providers like your FISs and those guys to kind of having more dedicated concentrated players who are really focusing on the needs of our customers that may be very different to the large banks. And so that's really that's when we get into that kind of like whole concept of modern acquiring, which is breaking that solution down and providing a number of things. And first and foremost about those things is a really good set of APIs that allow our customers to interact with us in the way that they want to interact with their suppliers. So they want modern APIs that allow them the flexibility, configuration, and control of what they're doing, not being constrained by in particular environments. And particularly where we were successful was the growth of that UK fintech scene, like the companies that we talked about. So the Revoluts and the Starlings and Curves. We were around at the right time where they were starting their journey, and they were looking for someone who could be flexible, who could provide them with features and functions that they couldn't get elsewhere or couldn't get taken seriously by the incumbent players. And we were there. We were more flexible. We were more pragmatic and could help them get up and running. And so it's simple things like we consider them simple today, but that whole concept of freezing a card. We now see the large banks kind of doing whole advertising campaigns based on these features. We were the first company to be offering those features via an API on the platform. So really enabling those things that the customers really recognize and value in their interactions with their banks and their financial institutions.
Interesting. And just out of interest, what drives innovation for your business? Is it kind of existing customer demand? I'm just interested because sometimes you've got to find balancing act when you're a process which is, is a very core role. You need card payments to go through, but obviously you've got this pressure on always being innovative. I'm just interested in your personal view within your particular role. How you find innovation, or where you need to deliver innovation, and how you manage that with some of the other responsibilities that you've got.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question, and that is the key tenet of my job, right? That's what I try and do every day. So, I think you're absolutely right though. The thing we take sort of most seriously, if you like, or the core pillar of our product strategy, is about what we call being the best processor, and that means we've got to be available. We've got to be scalable. So as our customers do more and more and get more and more successful, we have to be able to support them in their growth. And we have to keep them, sort of insulated from all the change that goes on. So scheme mandate updates, 3DS, GDPR. We have to cover all of these things and make sure that we kind of give our current and give our customers that really kind of base that they can be assured on. And so, whilst that doesn't sound like innovation, it is the basis for innovation. It's the basis for our innovation, but it's also the basis for our customers' innovation, because they don't have to worry about doing that stuff themselves. They can concentrate on what they want to do. So whilst that, I think that it's super important, and it's the thing that's number one on our sheet of things we care about. But then to your point, we also then need to build features and functions that mean, our customers recognize us as being, innovative, but also to deliver real value for them, right? So, we work with a lot of partners to bring their features into our platform, and we're obviously know you guys pretty well, and we'll hopefully be talking about something that we're going to do in the future very soon. But we have lots of companies like we work with Cardinal on 3DS. We work with Modular on agency banking. And so bringing the best of breed and integrating them in then with our platform helps us provide a really rich platform to our customers to build solutions and features on as well. And then we add our own stuff on top, right? So we add our own intellectual property and resource development on that. We're doing lots of things, but particularly I think we've been amazingly at the forefront of getting 3DS delivered through our customers. Whilst that was quite regulatory driven, doing it the right way to make sure the customers had a great experience, not only our customers but their customers, has been a really important journey that we've taken people on. But we've got lots of things that we're kind of doing in the pipeline as well that we'll be talking to. It's the world about soon, but it's doing all of those things at the same time is really important.
Fantastic. So great overview both on the services that GPS do and kind of your view on innovation. I guess I'm interested in your view on where the business is heading geographically. So interestingly enough, Currencycloud, GPS are pretty similar. We've kind of served the same markets for the last 10 years or so, and we've also both headquartered in the UK. Interested in seeing what your kind of geographic expansion plans are as we head out through the rest of 2021 and over the next couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, we called ourselves GlobalProcessingServices, so we kind of had to deliver on that name. So yeah, look, I mean, for a long time we've been quite European centric, and just hugely benefited from that whole post financial crisis explosion of fintech, and we've both powered and been helped along because of that. But we see, it's not an uncommon story to say that what happened here, we're seeing now kind of play out in the rest of the world, right? So, those countries are looking to the UK to say, well, how did you do it in the UK? And then we're in a great position to say, well, actually, look, we helped power that, and so we can help you too. So, global expansion is kind of the fourth pillar of our story at the moment.
And I guess as well, it's potentially also driven by some of your customers expanding globally as well.
Absolutely right. Yeah, I mean, Revolut particularly have gone to lots of different countries, and we have supported their expansion. But yeah, I think so. Just over 2 years ago, we set up our Asia Pac business, and so in Singapore, and we've had great success there. We've signed a number of customers across the region, from Australia to Singapore, Malaysia, and so that's great, and a real almost gone better than we could have imagined in terms of our story really making sense out there, and people wanting to use the platform. And then this year we've set up our Middle East office, and so I've set up in Dubai, working closely with the schemes out there to again bring that story, bring our solutions to the market, and again seeing huge interest in what we're doing and wanting to do that. I think that story of kind of been working. One of the other things that we do really well is that we work with issuing banks, so the people who hold the EMI licenses, and so being able to kind of work with multiple issuing banks to then make sure that our customers have both regional coverage, but coverage for particular types of products, all that kind of stuff, and really helping them build that ecosystem of partners, works really well for us. And that's a really powerful story that resonates everywhere that we're going. And as a result, we're kind of seeing great success as we launch in those territories. And I think what's really exciting then is the types of people that we're seeing, right? So we're seeing everything from large bank migrations to fintechs, but a wider range of segments than ever coming to this space.
Yes, so that was going to be one of my next questions actually, because it's a tough question, because when I say what segments are you seeing? Well, you potentially you could say 30. Now, how do you categorize those? Because actually there's certain niches becoming in each of all of them. But I guess the segments that you're seeing, and B, is there any variation in those segments based on the particular geography? I.e., are you seeing demand more in APAC, say, versus EMEA for some particular organisations?
Yeah, I mean, the range of customers that we're seeing is great, and it's constantly challenging that the nice spreadsheets I put together in terms of what segments we have. Right, there's always new things coming in, but I think again, 5-6 years ago we saw the wave of new banks, but they were kind of still banks, right? So they weren't recognisably something different to what they were, other than they were much better user experience, but the service, other fundamental services they're offering are still the same, and those companies are great and they still do really well. But we're seeing more and more sort of differentiated approaches coming. I think we've been really successful with helping crypto companies kind of really establish themselves. So people who have crypto wallets, whatever your opinion of crypto, people are engaging with that in a really meaningful way. But then also wanting to find ways to conveniently use that currency to do transactions. And so, the beauty of card is that it's accepted everywhere. And so, adding card to a crypto solution means that you can get that money in and out and usable in a way that isn't strictly possible with a pure crypto solution. So that marriage of those two technologies is something we're seeing happening lots and lots. Equally true of buy now, pay later. Again, another huge thing that we're all seeing happen in the market. And so it's not always, people aren't always aware that in many of those cases, a virtual card is used in the background to power those transactions. So the merchant gets paid, and then the BNPL provider then manages that relationship with you. But the way that the merchant gets paid is via a kind of virtual card that you don't see in the background. And so we're seeing lots of providers leveraging our technology to be able to provide that virtual card in the background to those services. So that's a huge area of growth for us as well. And then travel. We're all like yourselves. We're all sort of seeing the green shoots of kind of a world emerging that allows us to travel, which is great news personally, but also from a business point of view. And so we'd always been strong in that world. Again, we're sort of seeing whether it's virtual card usage in the actual B2B travel world, or whether it's kind of multi-currency solutions for consumers and businesses. But we're starting to see that really take off again, and that's super exciting. We're really happy to see some of our customers kind of really light up in that space again. So they're the kind of growth areas. In terms of differences around the world, I mean, we see commonality. So BNPL is happening everywhere, right? I mean, every country now is either the established players are emerging, or there are local players emerging in those regions. Travel and FX, as you know, is there are different stories around the world. But I think we are seeing, particularly in MENA and Asia, we're sort of seeing that either established banks wanting to digitally transform, and that's a really exciting thing for us, because we're kind of seeing opportunities there where maybe 5-10 years ago they wouldn't talk to a player like us and they would go to the incumbents. Now we're sort of a scale and of a size where they're willing to kind of consider us for those, and also we're sort of seeing that those new fintech businesses start up like they did in the UK. So that traditional neobank, if that makes sense, that's not an oxymoron. That you're definitely seeing that. That's still a story playing out in lots of regions, and that's as the countries put the regulatory frameworks together to enable these types of businesses, right? So that wasn't one of the people kind of forget that one of the reasons that the UK was able to take off like that was because of the regulatory framework that we had in terms of the EMI licenses and that kind of stuff. And again, other countries have followed suit there. And as those come up, then there's always a wave of banks that follow, and we're trying to support as many of them as possible.
Yeah, and are you still seeing the fintech growth in the UK that we obviously witnessed over the last 10 years or so? Are you seeing a bit of I guess that growth is maybe shifting over to APAC, is it possibly?
Yeah, I think where you're seeing kind of new players emerge here with a very kind of niche offering, you're kind of still seeing kind of broader offerings elsewhere. But I think they're happening, but they're also happening on that accelerated timeline, right? So they're kind of what you could get away with as table stakes as a proposition, 5 years ago, that doesn't cut it, right? If you've got a new proposition, it's got to have multi-FX, it's got to have all of these things. And so that's a challenge, but also a great opportunity for us to be able to help those customers get there.
Yeah, fantastic. And look, it's as I mentioned before, our organisations have worked together for many years previously, and look, hopefully we'll be able to continue doing that in the future. And like yourselves, we see a continuing growing world of opportunity out there. And I'm just looking at the clock here and I realise we've got up to the 15-minute stage. So look, I'd like to thank you for blocking some time out in your diary. Just one final thing for me. So for the listeners, how are people able to get in contact with yourself at GPS if they've got any more questions?
Yeah, and I'd love to speak to anyone who wants to talk about modern card issuing. And so globalprocessing.com is the best place to find us.
Excellent. I'm just seeing whether we've got any questions or anything like that. Doesn't look like it, but okay, super. Well, look, thanks very much for everyone for dialing in. Shaun, thanks again for your time. No doubt I'll speak to you soon, and everybody have a great weekend.
Thanks, David. Yeah, really appreciate it. Thank you.